CAP Fund was instrumental in bringing this project down here.
Our whole strategy as an organization is go where nobody else wants to go.
They were able to see past the current state of the neighborhood and look to where we knew it was going to be heading.
We go to communities and say, why is it that people don't want to be here, and what can we do to make it attractive again?
It just would not have happened without the tax credits.
Understanding that project, understanding that market and that community, and understanding the overall economic condition of the area are critical to understanding whether or not you want to put your capital into that particular project.
They became aware of it just by visiting and touring and us telling them that the master plan for Grand Valley is to roll out in this neighborhood.
In 2007, we had kind of the first indications that the business model we'd been operating under for 14, 15 years was maybe in the process of changing. We started to get some pretty strong feedback from two of our biggest investors, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that the levels of capital they were bringing to us on a consistent year-to-year basis might not be there in the future.
I retired from Fannie Mae in 2005. Jim and Mark asked me if I would like to be on their board. I was very flattered by that, and particularly to be able to work with the organization that I felt was one of the premier organizations in the United States for bringing capital from other areas into the local economies and local communities where it's needed.
We have a couple of our members are investors in our fund. They come from the banking world. They were starting to see things from their own institutional perspective that we were not seeing yet.
That was a precursor, if you will, of the recession and the really bad times that Fannie Mae was going to have come upon them really hadn't hit yet. But just the fact that one of the major investors in the fund was now having some issues in providing that equity that the organization had depended on became a very major issue. And Mark and Jim were able to kind of look out into the future and see that they were going to have some problems if they didn't go ahead and address it now.
Human nature is always, you keep doing the same thing you've been doing and kind of keep your fingers crossed. It's a challenge to get outside your comfort zone and go down a path that you aren't really quite sure where it's going to take you, although you know this is what we really need to do. And when we were faced with that, I'm glad we had the kind of leadership here that wasn't afraid to go down the unknown path and took the whole organization and dumped it out on the table and said, okay, what are we really good at doing, and how can we use that skill to diversify into these other areas to be able to preserve us as an organization. That was a key decision moment for us.
Through a couple of federal programs, we got very involved in economic and community development activities that were not related to housing, which led us to recognize that we had some real capacity in that area that we were not utilizing to our fullest. And there was a definite need in our marketplace in Michigan and Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin for some of the skill sets we had as an organization. Even though we learned those skill sets doing housing, they were easily applicable to things like economic development and job creation.
As the economy was going down, our portfolio performance was going like this. And it was totally counterintuitive to our investors and people who are looking at investing, the fact that when we show them the hard data and they show that portfolio was improving and was enhanced and at or above national averages was shocking to a lot of people.
Savvy investors, if they really are savvy, they're going to look for the best partner they can find that really understands that area where they don't. And so yes, Great Lakes Capital Fund does in fact know its market, and it has a portfolio that has outperformed the industry average, even in areas that they would be deemed challenging.
We were created as a nonprofit with a mission. We're supposed to do the deals that were the most difficult deals to do, to make a difference in people's lives. The investors, they're getting a financial return at the market, while at the same time they're doing something socially good. You can't beat that from an investor standpoint.